are listening to the MercTown Underground, produced by MercTown Studios. And now your hosts, SLB and Merc.
It's 3 a.m. I don't know where my grandma is. I haven't slept in 4 days. This is the MercTown Underground.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is the SLB.
This is, of course, Merc.
We're gonna get right into it tonight.
Ooh.
So, this weekend, I don't know about you, mine wasn't really too exciting.
I worked, again, being the awesome person I am.
I worked as well. There was something else that happened, I don't remember. Oh, I purchased a couple of, a new camera for filming purposes.
He's gonna look real sexy in it.
I tried to be. I mean, I think the biggest shock for us... Well, before I go to that, I do want to mention I did see The Jungle Book this weekend. Well, last Wednesday.
You messaged me saying it didn't suck.
No, it was a good adaptation of the cartoon in the book. It was just done really well. You had a great cast. You had... Oh, man, who was it? Ben Kingsley was in it. Oh, I can't think of everybody. Bill Murray was in it. Scarlett Johansson. Giancarlo Esposito, I think. That's the guy who was in Breaking Bad, who owned the chicken... Local chicken, yeah. He's in it. Great cast. It was done well. It actually might end up in my top 10 movies.
Did it adapt better than a blind football player? Yeah, I've been watching Vines all day. Blind football player was probably my favorite. I showed him right before. I probably should have waited a few minutes before we recorded, but I think it was worth it. I went to New Haven, Connecticut, to see my friends down there. Good times. Good times.
Who's in New Haven?
Dave.
Oh, is that where he lives? I knew he was in Connecticut. I didn't know where.
Yeah, we all just flock down to Connecticut once every other week now.
He's been asking me to go down there. I just haven't...
It's about an hour and a half. It's like dead center between New York City and us. Like, it's an hour and a half either way, like almost exact, within like minutes.
I wish I had time to go down there with you guys. Who went?
Me, Bob, and Ben. Speaking of Ben, he showed me a new video game that we're going to talk about a little bit later.
Yeah, this is something that really caught my fucking attention.
Under the radar, but I think it has the potential to be huge. But we're going to talk about that later.
Yeah, well, something that happened before the weekend, we're going to kind of jump us into a music discussion. Thursday, I got a text from my buddies from J&J, John Lipinski, messaging me, Rip, China, and Prince. As we all know, China died. I don't know if we mentioned that last week, 45 years old.
No, it was before we recorded. Or after we recorded.
After we recorded? Yeah, so China died, which was upsetting. But even more of an upset was the fact that we learned that Prince, legendary... He's not really known for playing guitar, but he's a guitar genius. And pop star from the 80s, Prince, had died in his home in Minnesota.
If you don't like Prince, you're wrong. The guy is phenomenal. Regardless of what genre you're into, there should be a Prince song that you will be into.
I don't think I saw a single musician from any genre not acknowledge him this weekend. Because...
he can do anything. He really could.
He could. I was watching when George Harrison of the Beatles died. He did the guitar solo for "While My Guitar Gently Weeps," and he just can go ham at it. And he could write a great song. For pop music, he could write great pop music.
It's catchy, but it doesn't sound like the garbage that's on fucking pop stations today.
But it was also the 80s. The 80s had great pop music compared to today.
Absolutely. It's not even close. Not even a comparison.
You had obviously Michael Jackson. You have Prince, you have even all the new wavy kind of stuff, even all the stuff I listen to today when I'm at work. Sometimes it's all pop music from, if I'm not listening to metal or prog, it's usually like new wave or like 80s pop, like the Bangles, like Michael Jackson, Prince, just stuff that doesn't get old.
We really are part of the last good generation, as I say.
Yeah, well, Generation Y is probably the last good generation. The millennials are the ones that are yeah,
We'll get on that another day.
another day.
But Prince, what's your favorite Prince song?
Oh, that's tough. This is what we should have done a top 5.
I know, I didn't think of it till now, but let's just do top one for you.
Honestly, for me personally, it might be When Doves Cry.
I've heard Mushroom Head cover that. That was pretty funny. Well, not funny, but
Yeah, it's good.
it's hard to cover an artist that's that good. Like when you hear a song you don't like covered, like when Garth Brooks becomes metal. You know, I grew up with Garth Brooks, but that's cool.
Yeah.
It's hard to cover Prince because he didn't leave much room to improve.
No. But yeah, When Doves Cry is probably my favorite Prince song.
I like Little Red Corvette. Big surprise.
Yeah, I mean they're all. It's really hard to pick a good Prince, your favorite Prince song. But I've seen a bunch of people this week. Hell, fucking Corey Taylor covered Purple Rain when he went on stage this week.
I saw like the clip of the video, but I didn't watch it.
So the moment he came out with an acoustic guitar, so maybe it was not as familiar to people. But the moment he started singing, the crowd went nuts and they joined right in.
Everyone's Light and Things Purple. The bridge and was it Pawtucket?
Pawtucket was lit purple. I went to the news site I go to, Drudge Report. They changed all their text to purple. Everything.
It's really cool to see how much support he has.
I don't even think Whitney Houston... Yeah, Whitney Houston had flags at half-mast, but I don't think she did what Prince did.
She didn't have that much talent. She had an okay voice at one point. Prince did everything.
I mean, she did everything, too, not musically, but when it comes to everything else in life, like drugs, yeah, she definitely did everything. But yeah, it sucks. Prince is gone. Another legend taken from 2016.
It's been a bad year.
It's going to be called the Year of the Dead at this point.
Not to mention Patton Oswalt's wife died.
Yeah,
and
we were talking about that.
As much as I don't know her, and I do feel bad for him, it's going to be interesting to see how he can recover from it.
Yeah, especially that young. She was, 46?
She was young. She still looked pretty good from the pictures I saw.
Yeah, and Patton Oswalt, he's a young guy, too.
He's a great actor. I loved him in Justified. He does voice acting for Archer. His stand-up's phenomenal. I know you said you want to check it out.
Yeah, I gotta check it out. I keep going on the Facebook, and the last message I had for you from the longest time was Werewolves and Lollipops. I'm like, what the fuck are we Oh, I thought you were just rambling again. Okay, Werewolves and Lollipops.
Yeah, that's actually the title of one of his albums.
I literally thought you were rambling, but I'm like, okay, I'll have to definitely check that out.
Oh, he's a funny guy. Definitely very underrated in the stand-up world. He was on like King of Queens too with Kevin James, I believe.
Yeah,
I never got into that show, but I know he was on there.
I think that's part of the reason why I've never maybe gotten into him, because I see him on King of Queens, and I've watched King of Queens, and I don't care for King of Queens. That's a show that couldn't exist, and it wouldn't faze me.
I'm the same way, and I didn't really get into him until a couple of years after, and they played his stand-up special on Comedy Central, and this was probably 15 years ago. I'm like, wait a minute, this fucker's actually pretty funny. And I got into a stand-up, and I really only did a stand-up for a while, and then recently he started to show up in like everything, doing cameos.
I mean, when you can't get work, you just do all little things, and it adds up.
He still puts out a comedy album every couple of years. He's funny. Check him out. He had a pretty major role in Justified. I know you haven't seen that yet.
No,
highly recommend. Enjoy watching that. He was the comic relief for the most part. A show that's, it had its Western funny moments, like, one-liners, but he was generally funny in the show. But before all this tragedy, we saw Dream Theater.
Oh my god, that's
What a show! And a movie, kind of.
Yeah, they did. First of all, I'm still trying to gather this whole album, like, internally, because the whole album is a concept album.
I didn't hear it before. I kind of wish I did. But it was really good. It was, I think your uncle said they go from a later album to a darker album.
Every album, yes.
And this was definitely the latter album. I didn't know going in what to expect, but the guitarist, was it John Petrucci? Absolutely phenomenal. The essence with the movie in the background, you felt the album in a way.
Yeah.
And it was amazing.
I was telling Josh, I don't know if you heard me, because we did go with Josh Rathman of the Review Realm. I've seen him 9 times, and I've seen a couple of shows this year. I've seen a bunch of shows going back. they might be the best mixed band live.
They do sound. When we first walked in, because we actually got there about 5 minutes late,
Yeah.
I thought they were playing like an audio track.
A backtrack, yeah.
Just before the show. That was actually the first song.
Yeah, and they sounded perfect. It sounded right off the album. They performed great, besides minor things with the venue itself.
Yeah, during the intermission, when nothing's going on, the band's not out, there's no movie in the background, they decided no cell phones during intermission. I don't know where you were.
I was in the bathroom, yeah.
But I was just sitting there, I had actually a relatively important work message. It was an emergency, but it needed to be handled, and I was getting screamed at by the Gestapo staff to get off my phone. If I had my phone out, even just taking a picture of the stage, they could say something. But when I'm, head down, typing what obviously is a message, leave me the fuck alone. And they weren't just looking for people that had their phones up. They were literally looking for people, going down the aisles looking. And I almost got kicked out because I had a little bit of an altercation. It's a minor thing for a great show, and I'm sure the band had nothing to do with it. I'm sure the band requested no video during the performance, which is absolutely acceptable.
Yeah.
But the intermission, I guarantee you Dream Theater said, we don't want phones on the intermission. That did not fucking happen.
No. I did see some things where people oh yeah, the band requests no photography, this and that. I'm like, yeah, but at the same time, when the band was actually on, I had I've been applying for jobs, and I had received a call with the missed the voicemail, and I was just looking up the number to see if it was
and who
spam.
knows, maybe someone's checking with a babysitter or something that's actually way more important.
Yeah.
Who knows?
But
you could probably walk out the venue, but if you're only checking in, it's not a huge deal.
I was, granted, I'm 5'2", I'm 5'2", I'm sitting all the way on the far side against the wall, and my phone's below my waist, so that's pretty low. The fact that they had a guy on the other end, where he was was saying whatever he said to you, flash his light, and I just saw him look like he was screaming at me.
He flashed it was it went white and red. It went back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just how the city's been since the bombings a few years ago, but that's really over the top.
No, because when we saw them last time, when they were recording the DVD...
They weren't that bad, yeah. We were on the end.
And we were on the end. And we all had our phones out during intermission, and maybe even once or twice during the show just to check our messages, and no one said anything, and that was actually after the bombings, too. I know that for a fact.
Okay, yeah. So, fair enough. I don't know what the hell happened. I don't know. Besides that, the show was great. We may not, well, I know you're not, probably not go to the Orpheum ever again for
I'll
a
go
show.
see Dream Theater tomorrow, but the Orpheum, I don't care if it's Dog Fashion Disco, Faith No More, Clutch, and let's say Prince comes... Oh, if Prince comes back from the dead, that'll be an exception. But beyond that, I wouldn't go there.
No, me neither. So we had a good trip. We drove up to Boston, took the TN.
The whole show was great. I know we kind of elaborated a long time on that for such a minor thing, but leave me the fuck alone. Seriously.
It was. I've never experienced something like that. I know how people can get anal with cameras, but
if there was even a small video clip going on up front, I'd go, okay, I can see what's going on there. No,
I think I might have video footage from that show from the 2 years ago. Yeah.
Oh yeah, everyone had their phones at that show. I saw a lot of people doing little 30-second clips that whole show. And that was one that's going on DVD. That's something where they need to protect their product way more than this one.
Yeah, which makes sense. I mean, I don't know if you saw it during the second half of the set this time around. There's one guy who went up to go take a picture, he forgot his flash, and his flash went off, and he just threw his phone down, and I was kind of watching to see if security was going to come. Nobody even came and talked to this guy. So, again...
It's not Dream Theater. I know one or two people said it might be no, it's not.
There's something else going on.
You've seen them how many times? 9 times now?
9 times. And there have been shows where, they're a little anal on the photography. I mean...
During the show, that's totally understandable.
Yeah. But if you're on your phone during intermission, or you're checking it, I don't know.
It's just bad practice to be that anal.
About things like that, yeah.
And I actually did a little bit of research when I got home because I was still a little bit angry about it. I found out that opera houses that put on plays, it used to kind of be a norm of no things during Jesus, help me here.
No phones or something during intermission.
Intermission, thank you. That's what I was looking for. But I looked it up, and a lot of them started changing it. Of like, they actually started encouraging it, like, light us on fire on Twitter. Everyone say you're here, and it's kind of changed over the years. And I just did a little bit of like research. It was interesting to see how the norms in the last 5-10 years have totally changed. Yet it looks like the Orpheum has not.
It's funny because my first time I saw them was at the Orpheum. It was in 2006. I had my flip LG phone at the time. Don't have the photo. I took photos, I think, during most of that show because I was excited. I was 13 years old, and it was my first concert. 14 years old, and I was excited as fuck. And I took photos throughout most of that show, and they were on that phone. And no idea where they are. But anywho, not a single person came up to me during that show and nagged me for my phone or not take photos.
That's also before cameras were good.
Yeah, so, and it wasn't really a flash. You could turn the flash, which is another thing. You can turn flashes off. I saw Muse a few months ago, and before the show starts, they have over the intercom from the band, like, yes, this is a full, this show has full lights and everything and all this shit going on. You are more than welcome to take photos. However, can you please at this time make sure that your flash is off? It was like, yes, this is going to be cool. There's a lot of cool things going on with lights. And you can take photos. Just make sure your flash is off, so you're not an asshole to everyone else.
That's fair.
Which is funny. The only person who forgot was John Lipinski.
But we want to keep this positive. It was a minor thing, even though we've been talking about it for 15 minutes. So, another show where you can take photos that might be coming back is Ozzfest.
Ozzfest, yeah, we saw this.
If you can survive the pit to take the photo.
There was something posted on the Ozzfest Facebook page today that said special announcement coming soon. You don't post that on a Facebook page with no intent of like...
They're not going to be like, new Ozzy album. If they did, I think it pissed a lot of people off, so I highly doubt that's what
I think that would be on Ozzy's web Facebook page
we
before
probably
it would be on
should have
Ozzfest.
checked it to see if the same post was going on. We don't need to do it now.
No.
But it's very likely that Ozzfest is coming back. I've gone a few times. I loved it.
By the time I started really going to concerts, Ozzfest started to die down. Like, I think 2009, 2010, it was like almost non-existent, if not non-existent.
I went to 2010.
Okay,
Halford was there as Halford.
that must have been the last year or so, then.
I don't remember. I remember it was raining. Second stage got canceled. And Drowning Pool was the headliner of the second stage, so Head PE came out and they let Drowning Pool play a couple songs just to kind of fill the void.
Oh, that's nice.
There was a lot of good bands there. Halford was amazing.
So this goes back to, with Ozzfest coming back. I think this goes back to, Heavy Montreal had a pretty air lineup. That new open air Chicago Open Air had an air lineup.
It's all your cookie cutter metal, like Five Finger Death Punch.
Mayhem Festival's not coming back. It's dead. All the big festivals are dead. So I think Ozzfest is now in terms of time to come back.
I really hope they do good with it because there's so much like screamcore, like garbage. There's so many cookie cutter metal bands like Five Finger. And, as much as I liked Five Finger in the first two albums, it's not the same.
Yeah, no. It's,
Exactly. There's no words for it. So I'm really hoping that not only does it come back, but it has an impressive lineup.
I think, first and foremost, this is a theory I have. This is just a theory. They're coming back because this is Black Sabbath's final tour. They're in the midst of their final world tour. On top of the fact that they need a new metal festival to fill in where Mayhem was, to fill in...
You always get the Warped Tour.
Oh my gosh, that lineup always sucks. So on top of the fact that there's no more Mayhem and a couple of these other festivals, and they've been getting a lot of negative responses, this will coincide perfectly with Black Sabbath's final world tour, which would be exciting to see them.
That's a huge opportunity. Hopefully, second stage is good.
Okay, so let's assume that they're making this announcement now in April. It's got to be this year. I'm going to assume it's this year.
It got to be this year.
So let's...
It doesn't give you much time to put a whole show together.
No, but I
usually have 16, 18, 20 bands.
But there's got to be bands that aren't touring right now. That are... this has probably been in the works for a while anyways. Because I don't think Black Sabbath... I think they might have a window during the summer where they're not touring. So let's say Black Sabbath Again, I could be wrong. I haven't really looked. I want to say Black Sabbath. Who else is big that's touring this year? Or hasn't toured? Or won't be touring right
Is
now?
Maiden touring?
Maiden is touring, but that could be on the list. So let's throw Iron Maiden. Because they're in a major world tour right now.
What about Halford or Judas Priest?
Maybe Priest. Maybe a couple smaller, bigger acts.
They're gonna have to have like that B act that before Black Sabbath. They're gonna have to have one. Could be Slayer. I don't know what they're doing.
Slayer's touring right now. Oh, I don't know if they're touring right now, but they're touring for their album. So Slayer could be on the list. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, and I can't think of anything.
It's gonna be really, really interesting to see. The speculation's fun. If you feel like you want to speculate, let us know. But as of now, there's just a big announcement coming soon.
And we're excited.
Yes.
Okay, so on last week, we had talked about that band, Dead by Wednesday. With them, their singer getting kicked out.
Me being a big fan of a lot of the guest singers.
That this EP's coming out. So they released a single with the former lead singer of Fate's Warning, John Ark.
And we heard it.
We heard it.
And we loved it.
So with the original singer, my description of it, I think last week was, they sounded like a straight up metal band, kind of like King, they're metal, they're heavy, they're good, but they have this like hardcore punk singer.
Who robs pharmacies.
Yes, who robs pharmacies. This year, they just getting a different singer. They sound like a fucking powerhouse of a band. They sound like they're getting ready to open, if not be second headliner to the Mayhem Festival or Ozzfest. I think they sound like a powerhouse with John Ark on vocals.
Darkest of Angels comes out May 20th. That's the album.
I will be buying that.
And I will be too. A lot of my favorite singers on it. Carly Coma of Candaria, one of my favorite singers. Chris Keys, kind of the less weird version of the Fuxedos.
Yep.
That's his vocal style. Because the Fuxedos will fuck your mind up for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've talked about them on the podcast before.
We mentioned them. We had a discussion. I think you and me had a discussion on going to Walmart the other week.
I know. I've played them for you.
You played them for me. Rob's going to suggest, as well as I. We'll save that for next week.
We're going to share a link for the Fuxedos eventually. And it's going to blow your mind how fucking weird these guys are.
We're going to send you a link. It's the Fuxedos on the Gong Show with David Tell from 2000, from 16 years ago.
Oh, no, it was probably 07.
It had,
I think it was 07. I'd put money it was 07. Maybe 08.
Gong Show with David Tell. Gong Show.
It had 8 episodes. I'd say somewhere between 2007 and 2009. I want to say 2007. I feel pretty good about that.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Why did it feel later than that? Oh, no. I think there was another revival back in the early 2000s. That's what I'm thinking of.
Okay. It was only 8 episodes. It was really good. I enjoyed all 8 episodes. I'm actually looking for a download for all 8 of them. I'd like to watch them again. They were really good. But that's actually how I got into the Fuxedos, and I bought their album solely from that. And they do a lot of covers where they'll change the genre 16 times in a song. One of them is on their album. They also did a version of Freebird where they changed the genre quite frequently, including death metal and Spanish music, which is very weird for Freebird.
Extreme Gong was in 2000. Okay. For some reason,
I'd never even heard of that one.
It was a revival on the WB that never got picked up. Okay, what was it? I must have been thinking of something else. Anyhow, yeah, we're going to send you guys... We're going to post a link of David Tell on the Gong Show introducing the Fuxedos and then performing...
I need to find a download just because the 3 guests were J.B. Smoove, Jim Norton, and Ron White. The things that Ron White and Jim Norton said afterwards was almost as funny as the performance. I think the best one, which Jim Norton said, is taking a shit had theme music.
Yes, actually, that's the best way to describe it.
I gotta find the download. I've been looking for a while. Not that hard, granted, but I probably will. Just for, all 20 listeners that we may have.
Yeah, speaking of Dead by Wednesday, jumping a little back. This week another release is the new Rob Zombie album, which I don't think I've heard anything for. I don't know if there's a single out there.
His new one from 2 or 3 years ago wasn't bad.
No, they're not bad.
It's very consistent. It's kind of like when Godsmack came out. We're like, sounds like Godsmack. It's good. It's not going to be my favorite thing.
No, it's not. It's
Could you get into it? Is he doing anything wrong? Absolutely not.
no. He has his formula and he runs by it.
I don't think he'll have another Super Beast, but
Well,
everything is good.
that first album, Hellbilly Deluxe Volume 1, is...
That album is something you can still go back and listen to, and every track is amazing. Now, like I said, he's never had a bad song. He just doesn't blow me away.
He hit his peak with his first album.
What the fuck is the album title? It's like 19 words.
Oh, the new one. I think meant the first one. Like, the first one is Hellbilly.
Yeah.
You know,
No, Hellbilly. Not Hellbilly.
he's 51 years old. Wow. He's still going. Doesn't look like he's the
I
51.
think the second one was Sinister Urge.
Sinister Urge, Haunted World of El Super Beasto. I kind of saw...
I liked him as White Zombie, too. The last one was a pretty long title, too, right?
Yeah, Venomous Rat, Regenerator Vendor. The new one's called the Electric Warlock Acid Witch Satanic Orgy Celebration Dispenser. Yeah, I'm gonna be listening to that.
He's going for the title of longest fucking record.
Wow, even the song titles are long. There's been 3 singles released. I haven't heard a single one. First one was, well, everybody's a fucking in a UFO. The hideous exhibitions of a dedicated gore whore. And in the age of the consecrated vampire, we all get high.
I might have to give this a really good listen.
We're gonna have to listen to these.
Maybe he's back. Maybe this will be his second best album. I don't think it will be Hellbilly, but you never know.
No, well, again, the new Rob Zombie album, which I'm not repeating the title again,
No, please don't.
comes out Friday, April 29th, 30th. I was just online, before it came over. I was just looking at my music, news. And it's something that came up that's been a project in the works for years. Is this band called Giraffe Tongue Orchestra.
The fuck?
Um,
You actually did not say anything about this to me before we recorded.
I was just writing it down, but this is a kind of a quick, I thought people would be interested. So, the Giraffe Tongue Orchestra is a supergroup. It comprises of the current lead singer of Alice in Chains, Brent Hines of Mastodon,
There's been a lot of side projects lately.
and Benjamin Weinman of the Dillinger Escape Plan.
It's got a pretty good reputable.
I don't know what the hell is going on. I don't know.
Was it Giraffe Tongue Orgy?
Giraffe Tongue Orchestra. This has been a project that's been going on for the past few years. Nothing's been released yet. But they've already announced their first few dates in... Oh, there's a couple of... Reeds or Leeds? It's in Europe. So they're getting ready to tour, so that means an album is coming out. And anything with Dillinger and Mastodon members...
Busy, dude. Killer Be Killed, obviously Mastodon.
Actually, that was Troy in Killer Be Killed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
They all got weird names.
Which actually, Killer Be Killed has Greg Puciato, the lead singer of Dillinger, in it.
Yeah.
So those two bands are gonna be really
It's
tight.
like, oh, you want to be a side project? Well, I'm gonna be in a side project.
And I'm gonna take so and so with me. How's that sound? That sounds awesome. Yeah, that's gonna be the cool thing about being in bands like that.
Working with other bands that you really like, all that good stuff.
I mean, I know they've toured a couple times, which I'd love to go see a Mastodon Dillinger tour. Well, as long as Dillinger was headlining, because as much as I love Mastodon, they're not their vocals live are...
They're an album band.
Yeah.
But you know who's not an album band that we saw with them? Gojira.
Gojira,
They
yeah.
stole that night, dude.
Dude.
They were the best band that night. And I think everyone felt that was there.
They need to be a headlining act. I don't know why they're not a headlining act yet.
I don't know. Seeing them twice, it's just, they are so good.
I think with this new album coming out, Magma, I hope that this brings them over the top a little more.
Fuck yeah.
Have you heard the new single, Stranded?
I have not, because I've been watching too many shitty vines.
Oh, jeez.
I get really distracted very easily.
It's really good. It's a little different from your normal Gojira single. I'm excited for this album.
But that's what's cool about them, is they're one of those bands that they can almost try anything, and they have that fan base that will follow.
Yeah. So if they do decide to do a couple Prince covers on this album, we will not be disappointed. Or actually, that'd be interesting.
Hey, Children of Bodom killed a Britney Spears cover back in the day.
Oh my god! Oops, I did it again.
Yeah.
But that was actually better than the actual song.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah. It was meant to be funny, but it's actually good.
Well, they also because they did that whole cover album, and they also did Creedence Clearwater Revival's. What was it? On My Back. What was it? Not. The hell's the name of the song?
Hold on. I know which one.
Looking Out My Back Door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking out my back door.
And they did the whole music video. He's just sitting there with his guitar and he's singing. It's gold.
They're definitely very creative. I saw them live once, open up for Black Label on Clutch.
Who, Bowden?
Clutch, yeah.
Did you hear the new album, I Worship Chaos?
I haven't. I have the cover album and the one that came out like the year before or after it.
Oh, I forgot. I think I know exactly what.
Yet another band that I need to listen to more. I just never get around to.
Their new album, I Worship Chaos. I actually been listening to a lot.
When did it come out?
Last year.
Okay, I probably need to get that.
Definitely something. Yeah, I Worship Chaos by Children of Bodom. Definitely check out. And June 17th, Magma by Gojira. Check out their single Stranded.
It's funny because we were talking last week that we didn't have a lot of music to talk about, and it seems like it's starting to pop up slowly.
As we said, it's probably going to be a couple months and then it's going to blow up.
Yep, but we got a nice start.